Hello and welcome to today's video. Today reviewing another ink from Akkerman, a brand I just absolutely adore. Today we're looking at this. This is Shocking Blue, their number 5 ink. We're going to look at it on a range of different sorts of paper, show some tests, all that kind of stuff. But we start with it here on a colouring card. You can see some nice red copper sheen. It's beautiful. You actually get some sheen in the writing as well on this, as you do on Tomoe River paper, which is very, very nice. It is a high sheening ink, lovely rich concentration. Yeah, let's check it out on some paper. So here I have this ink on Tomoe River paper. This is 68 GSM Tomoe River paper, the old stock. I had it in 2 pens, the TWSBI Go Extra Fine and the TWSBI Go Broad. You can see here on the swatch, lovely sheen here on this paper. Really rich and dark. You actually get it also quite a lot in the writing. Okay, these 5 points. Firstly, PW Akkerman store is a shop in The Hague, in the Netherlands, and it is a 100-year-old store. Well, it was 100 years in 2010, which is when this ink was released to celebrate that 100 years. So they released a line of inks to celebrate the 100 years of their store. This is from the standard line. They have a few lines. They have like the Dutch Masters line, and they have some kind of like specialty lines, you know, inks for SBRE, Brown, and people like that. This is the standard line, their standard run of inks. I said here it is a heavy sheener, and it is. Even in writing here, we get plenty of sheen. I'm not sure how it's going to show up on the camera, but we get plenty of sheen from this ink in the writing. Now, I've said here made by Diamine. Now, that is not confirmed that I know of, but there are a lot of similarities between the performance of these inks and the performance of Diamine. As well as some similarities in colour, and things like the SBRE Brown ink originally coming from Diamine and now being on Akkerman. Who knows if it is, but that is sort of the rumour going around. Let's now talk about the performance of the ink. So I said it's a highly saturated dark royal blue. I'll bring up that colouring card again, and you can see that it's a nice rich dark royal blue colour. It's got excellent flow and wetness, as a lot of these Akkerman inks really do. Slow dry time, and it is highly concentrated. And with that means that cleaning it out of some pens does take a little bit longer. It doesn't stain, or at least I haven't found it to stain, but cleaning it out of things like piston filling pens or your vac fillers and things might just take a little bit longer, just because there is so much depth of concentration in this ink. I've also said it's tough on lower quality paper. So if you're using student notepad paper or office paper, this is going to be one of those inks that does come through. I've got superb page contrast and readability, and it's a very nice professional colour. So if you're looking for a rich dark blue for work that has a little bit of personality because of some of that sheen, that might be a good option. But as I say, if you're using on lower end paper, just be aware it is tougher on it, and we'll see that in just a second. Extras here, I said it's a mid shade ink. Now, if you have it in an extra fine pen like I have it in here, you can see a real difference between the depth of colour between the broad and the extra fine. It is a mid shader. When you get it in a wet pen, you are not going to see virtually any shading. When you have it in a drier pen, you might see a little bit, but it's not a super high shading ink, but it is a high sheening ink, as I've said a few times. Now, there is no shimmer, and I've put mid to low water resistance. Firstly, here I draw the triangle, and then I hit this with a water brush pen. It just moves around. It's because it is so highly concentrated in the dyes in this, it moves around. And then when we put the water down and I dab it up, it takes up most of the ink. So we do maintain a little bit of the detail. I wouldn't want to leave it on there too long though, because it does kind of sort of wash away. If we look at the chromatography, you see that the line has moved up a lot. There's a little bit held behind, but it has moved through. We get some lovely lighter blues at the top, but it is a beautiful, just pretty stock standard, straight, lovely blue colour. So now let's look at the reverse of this page, and really the only thing that's come through is where I put down the swatch, which was a lot of ink. Other than that, yes, you see it through, but nothing has bled through here on the Tomoe River paper. Let's now look at it on some other paper. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. This is the student notepad paper from Spyrex. Very lightweight, paper. You can see there's a bit of bleeding, there's a bit of feathering, sorry, and it is a much duller colour. it sort of absorbs a lot quicker into this paper and it's a lot more muted. And as you can see on the back here, in comparison to some other brands of ink, it performs okay. In comparison to the other Akkerman here, Simplicity's Violet, we get a little bit more bleed coming through here from the Shocking Blue. Then we get it here on the copy paper this is the 80 GSM copy paper from Reflex. And it looks a little better here, not so much bleed, and actually some hints of sheen, which is really interesting on this paper. It just shows how heavily this ink does sheen. But it does spread a little, and once again, the color is a little more muted. On the reverse, it does come through quite a lot. So as I said, this ink is tougher on some lower end paper. And then lastly, we have it here on Rhodia 80 GSM paper. Once again, that swatch looks beautiful. Nice little hit of sheen coming up on there. The lines are nice and tight. You know, it's a nice, rich, dark color. Where we put the water down, you can see it has, and we let it dry, it's just completely spread, and it's kind of lost all its detail, as you would expect from such a highly concentrated ink. On the reverse of that page, that's where it sort of come through, but in the actual writing, nothing has come through. Even in the swatch, only a couple of spots have come through. So once we get to these sort of coated, more fountain pen friendly papers, this ink really starts to perform, as we saw on Tomoe River paper, where it is brilliant. Okay, time for a color comparison. The first thing I'm going to do is show it alongside two sort of standard inks. So I've got Robert Oster's Tokyo Denim Blue, which is a lot lighter, and Waterman's Serenity Blue, which is a really lovely sort of standard blue ink. It kind of fits in that same family, that royal blue family as Serenity Blue, but it is a slightly heavier sheen, or it's a little richer and darker perhaps. Next, I'm going to show it alongside a couple of Diamine inks. Firstly, Oxford Blue, which is probably my favorite Diamine Blue, which has sort of a more gold copper sheen there. And it's a lot darker. It leans sort of closer to a navy blue, blue, black, as opposed to a royal blue. And then probably the ink it gets compared to the most here. This is Diamine Majestic Blue. They are very, very similar. The sheen is similar, the tone is similar, the shading is very similar. The wetness of those inks is very similar. And it's one of those reasons why people tend to think that these are made by Diamine for Akkerman. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. There have been brands making inks and other products for other companies for centuries. So this is just one of those examples, perhaps, of an ink being made by another maker. But yes, this Akkerman and the Diamine Majestic Blue, very, very similar there. And then just alongside two other Akkerman blues, we've got Nassau's Blau and Deep Dune Water Blue, and which is a more tealy blue-black, which I really enjoy and I'm going to be reviewing next. And then Nassau's Blau is a bit more of a purple blue, but you can see it sort of shows just how this is a very lovely, rich, dark royal blue color. Okay, what does this ink cost? Well, it is a 60ml bottle, and this is the bottle. It is a very special bottle. These Akkerman bottles are amazing. Simple plastic cap, but it's got this big body on the bottle, and then this sort of smaller reservoir at the top, and there's a little marble, a glass marble that sits in that reservoir, which can't get past this point in the neck. And so when you turn the bottle upside down, ink gets trapped up in this reservoir here, and that's where you can fill from. So even when the ink starts to run low in the bottle, you've got an easy way of getting a good fill right to the end of it, which is really great. So very great bottle. Love those Akkerman bottles a lot. So that's a 60ml bottle. In the euro price from Akkerman is €19.90. From an Australian retailer, it is $55.95, and I've seen it listed at $30 US. So not an inexpensive ink, but a good quality ink. The score I've given this is 4 out of 5. I said it's a superb color. Comes in a great bottle. Has some nice qualities on the page and in the pen. It does have a slower dry time. You can see here, you know, after 20 seconds, it's still pretty wet. And it is harder on lower end paper. So if you're using good quality paper and you want a blue that is going to pop and perform beautifully in your pen, this is a great option. If you need something that's going to perform on lower end paper, either get a really fine nib, or you might want to look at some other inks. Even some other Akkerman inks perform really, really nicely on lower end paper. This is just being such a wet, concentrated, saturated ink. That is what you're going to get. So, thank you for watching my review here of Akkerman's No. 5 Shocking Blue. Hope you found this video interesting and useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with the videos that I produce, and please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at @the_offstage_me, or you can contact me on any of my videos here, or drop me an email which is listed down below. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you would like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your inks, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.